All right, all right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Late Night Tips. In tonight's episode, we're going to look at the Korg MS-20 Mini, and we're going to investigate whether you should buy it or not. Okay, so what is Korg MS-20 Mini? It is a reissue, a modern reissue of a classic 1978 to 1983 Korg monophonic synthesizer MS-20. It is reduced in size by 86%, I believe, hence mini. It has mini keys, and the jacks are mini jacks in here, not quarter-inch jacks like on the original. Additionally, it has MIDI in through DIN and MIDI in and out through USB. Some people might not like the fact that it has mini keys. I actually really enjoy the fact that it's smaller because I have a very limited space in here and it fits perfectly into my setup, into my studio, as you can see. So I don't have a problem with that. So as you might already know, I really like MS-20. I love the synthesizer. But before we start talking about all the great things about this synth, let's focus on a couple of drawbacks that I found. So, first of all, it has no MIDI through, only MIDI in and MIDI in and out via USB, no MIDI through. I personally believe that every device should have a MIDI through because it makes it just much more versatile in a hardware setup. This one doesn't have it, and I understand why. It's for cost reasons because it is an affordable synthesizer. But if you want to use it in conjunction with Korg Volca or the Electribe, you need a MIDI splitter. So this could be a drawback. Another thing is that the DIN, MIDI DIN, is fixed on channel 1. So it only listens to MIDI on channel 1. This is not a big problem, but if you have a complex MIDI setup, you might need to rearrange the setup in order to accommodate for Korg MS-20 Mini. Still good that it has MIDI, obviously. Another thing that could be problematic, and it could be only the problem with my particular unit, is that it has a noise source, but it leaks. You might be able to hear it. I'm going to amplify that. Even when I'm not on the noise source, but on the oscillator, and the VCO mixer is turned all the way down, you still might hear a little hiss leaking. So I don't care. It's not a big problem. But if you're looking for a really clean setup, then you might be concerned. And now a couple of things that, well, people might consider drawbacks. I don't personally think that there are drawbacks. It only takes note in via MIDI, doesn't listen to CC messages, nothing of that sort. I actually don't care because it means that everything you see on the panel represents the real sound. So there's no presets, nothing of that nature. And second of all, it's truly analog, so there's no analog to digital conversion to listen to those CC messages. So I don't care, but some people might be concerned about that. And now, more of a joke than a real drawback, it can be a gateway drug into the world of modular synthesizers because the patch bay is so much fun. So moving on to the cool features of the MS-20, things that I love. First of all, it sounds great. It sounds awesome. I usually use it with a touch of reverb. And it's just an amazing synthesizer. And also it sounds very characteristic. You can never mistake it for any other synth. It has its own sound quality that I can always recognize when I hear an album. I can always say, oh, that's an MS-20. It's very characteristic, so that's good. Another great thing about the MS-20 is that it has two separate filters, one low pass and one high pass, which means that you can fit the sound into the mix perfectly. Both are resonant. So if you have a lot of bass in your mix, you can really remove that bass from the MS-20 on the synthesizer level. You don't need to use a separate EQ to really fit into the mix, and the filters sound awesome, so it's great. Another really cool thing is it's a noise source. So you can have white noise, from the oscillator, but you have also a separate noise source that you can patch pink noise and white noise. It's great. And also, this noise is very useful for patching. For example, you can use it to generate a continuous sound. Okay, so the noise source is great, which also means that you can synthesize drum sounds, which is pretty cool. And the next cool thing is that it actually has audio to CV converter, so you can plug in a microphone, sing into it, and it's going to translate it into, pretty accurately too, it's going to translate it into CV messages. I'm not going to do a demonstration. You can check Mark Doty's video on that. That's pretty amazing. So you can use it in that facility. And the final thing is that it has a patch bay, which is just completely awesome, and you can experiment and you can create really weird sounds in a very organic and tactile manner. And also what you can do is you can do this crazy thing. By using the patch bay. So it's a great synthesizer. So to conclude, should you buy an MS-20 Mini? Yes, you should. Actually, it's available in so many formats. You can get an app for the iPad, you can get it as a VST for your computer, you can get actually a VST controller that looks the same. So there's so many options for you, and you should definitely consider at least trying out an MS-20, because it is a great synthesizer. I actually did a blind test with a friend of mine who has the VST version of this, and honestly, on the same settings, I couldn't tell the difference in the blind test. So the VST app is awesome as well. So it's a great synthesizer, and you should definitely look into it. All right, that's it. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Late Night Tips. If you have any questions about the MS-20 or any other gear, make sure to leave them in the comment section below. If you have any requests for a review or a tutorial, let me know in the comments as well. Make sure to subscribe to this channel for more tutorials and more jams. Thank you very much for watching. Take care.